To make my videos about cycling, I travel across the Netherlands by train. When I arrive at the train station, all I have to do is check out and walk to where I can get a public transport bicycle or OV-fiets. In this case it is on the other side of the tracks, and getting a bike is completely automated. To get into the bicycle storage room, I only have to hold my public transport card up to the reader. And once it is checked, I can enter. Inside, I identify myself again and press 1 to rent a bicycle. The key locker opens and I can take out the key of a bicycle. The number helps me identify which bike the key belongs to. I take the bike out of the rack. I unlock the bicycle and I am ready to go. The whole procedure took about 1 minute. I can now ride to wherever it is I want to shoot a video. In this case, I went through the town of Bussum to go to the heath near Hilversum. The ride is completely uneventful to a Dutch eye, but maybe that is precisely what makes it interesting to a foreign eye. First I have to pass the parking lot of the train station. Leaving the parking lot means I have to give way to other traffic. After the left turn, the cycleway starts with a traffic light for a crossing of a major road. It doesn't really take long, and this will be the only signal I see today. Another left turn and the major road has separate cycleways. With an old-fashioned surface of concrete tiles. The overpass over the railway tracks is a bit narrow, but after this the infrastructure will get better. The moment it is possible, the cycleway gets further away from the roadway. The first major junction is a modern roundabout where I turn right. There is no interaction at all with other traffic. I ride around the bus stop and the surface is very smooth concrete. Even though the rental bike has no gears and coaster brakes, I can pick up quite a lot of speed. The cycleway is wide enough to overtake slower riders. Another bus stop. This time the shelter is on the right-hand side. The next junction is also a roundabout. I go straight on, and I have priority over the street from the right, which is a residential street with a 30 km/h speed limit. I'm back on a tiled surface again, and there is only a line to separate cycling and walking. Unusual, but it works here. The cycleway bends away from the roadway for a junction with a smaller side street. This improves sight lines, so drivers can better see me and give me priority. Another bus stop with the shelter on the right-hand side. The surface is again smooth concrete, and pedestrians are now to our right in that surface street. It is good to be away from all that motor traffic. Another roundabout coming up. Again I go straight on, and again I have priority. Bending out for a minor side street again. Yet another roundabout where I will go straight on, always with priority. This is the standard in all but a few municipalities of the Netherlands. This bus stop has the shelter on the floating island. Note that there are quite a number of driveways now. That do not bother me at all. It is very clear that the cycleway has priority over the driveways from the design. Bending out for a minor side street again. The car approaching from the right waits nicely. Passing behind another bus stop. And still quite a number of driveways. To continue, I will now have to go to the other side of the road, and I have to give priority on that crossing. There are gaps between the cars, so I don't even have to stop completely. A short bi-directional cycleway to get to a 30 km/h zone. This residential backstreet leads me to a very old-fashioned cycle tunnel under a motorway. With an awful collection of bollards, The tunnel is dark, narrow, and the entrance steep. Everything you shouldn't have. But it is from the 1960s, so that explains why it is this way. It does get me under the motorway, but I try to pick up some speed to take that steep exit. I have now reached a very quiet residential area, so there is no longer any separate cycling infrastructure necessary. There's hardly any motor traffic here, because only residents can use these streets. That was the closest I got to a car on this ride. I have now reached the forest cycleway. Today's destination.
Come on.